Hello, Dr. Wiley. It's Tony Shepard here, and I'm presenting to you my application assignment to speak to you about what my research goals are. This is for DEL 802, the conceptual framework for leadership. Today, what I'm going to talk to you about is some of the things that I'm interested in presenting in my research. I'm interested in leadership development and leadership, more importantly, leadership selection at the general officer level. So this comprises of how governors select the two-star general and how that two-star general selects their one-star general. So it's more about developing that leader and getting them to the next level. The research or the actuality, the reality of what we see or what I've seen across many of the states and territories of the United States, or general officers are selected based upon their MOS type, military occupational specialty. I'll continue to use the acronym only, MOS. And what that MOS is the job function of what you do. A state is primarily responsible, or the military component of a state is responsible for two things: emergency management and the military protection of that state. It's about a 90 to 10% ratio. 90% being emergency care and the welfare of the soldiers. So basically, those general officers are running an organization that is very similar in nature to a civilian organization. It's finance, it's emergency management, it's human resources management, it's logistics, and yet the officers that are selected for general are none of those. My research is showing about 85% of the officers selected are combat and combat support, combat arms type of officers. So what I would like to do is to explore and exploit the methods of why those type of officers are being selected and the others are not being selected. During my research in the bibliography, what I'm uncovering are some patterns. The DoD is stating that an officer at the senior level, colonel and above, are being selected based upon meritocracy, meaning that you are selected and chosen based upon the things that you have done, what you've accomplished, and those are documented through day to day, month to month, week over week appraisals. You have an annual appraisal and you're reviewed for that, and that's how you show what type of performer you are. That may be so from first lieutenant through to major or lieutenant colonel. When it comes to selecting officers at the general level, there is a consensus that there may be a club of we will choose only people who think and that have been trained like us. So since the majority of the regular active duty force, their leaders are made up of combat arms and combat type of MOSs, the states are using that as a template to do exactly the same thing. But it's not the same type of job. And that is where my research is going into. The other pattern that we're seeing is a lack of understanding of diversity training or lack thereof, racial differences. And I'll speak about those as a rival hypothesis when I get to that point. What I've learned about the research so far, when going through my concept map that I've developed, is that the ideas of balance are not truly represented. It's off balance. And my concept map shows an that you have to have at the core of what I'm attempting to do for the selection of a senior officer is some inclusivity. It should have very little barriers, great consequences, a lot of diversity, and a lot of opportunity to include opportunity. What I'm going to do with my concept map is build out or elaborate and expand more my M model, the Melange theory model that I've been building since the beginning of this class. And the model is a sense-making model, meaning that it receives the data, you receive the data, and you make sense of the type of components, and you'll see it in my presentation. At the core of the sense-making model is inclusivity balance. And what that is, what that is representing is 4 other paradigms or 4 attributes that can make up that balance that you're looking for. Because when you're making a selection, you want a balance. You want the person that you're selecting to represent the type of job and be in sync with what the outcomes are. Through my research of the annotated bibliography, I'm coming up with some rival hypotheses. And those hypotheses are basically guiding me in the direction of racial inequality, gender inequality, and some of the things that I just spoke about. How to mitigate gender inequality within an organization, how to mitigate racial inequality in a situation. That's fine and good. That is not what my research is based on. My research is based upon job bias, that the people who are selecting what I think researchers and scholars refer to as like thinking. So if you think like me because you were trained like me, then more than likely we will be in sync. It has nothing to do with the merits of how you can perform the job. So we have to get away from that. So the rival hypothesis is probably part of the narrative of missing the information or missing what is the intent is, and I don't want to go there. The second rival hypothesis that has emerged is along the lines of what type of methodology I should use to conduct my research. The research that I would like to do is a qualitative research. And most of the data that I'm pulling up is stating that you should use mixed methods, quantitative and qualitative research methodology to do it. And it's something that I'm not close to. I'm open to thinking about it, but at this time, based upon what it is that I want to do, I think that just a qualitative research would meet the demands of what I'm trying to have as a presentation and an outcome for my research. Hopefully, I've covered the intent of this application, and I look forward to hearing if you have any questions of me. Thank you, ma'am.